So today's theme is ecology and current events in ecology. So we could steer this conversation in many different directions. My personal interest in ecology is entirely kind of academic and related to things that are not terribly interesting, and so I was thinking that if it were just me and Joe talking about ecology, it would go in a direction of mathematics and nonlinear dynamics. And so it was really important for us to get something more practical and interesting for a general audience. And so let's talk about potential nonlinear interactions between ecosystems and perturbances. In particular, there's a perturbance that we're all thinking about these days, and that's the issues related to climate change. We also have Jonathan Kolar, our climate change expert.
He'll be here to correct us when we make mistakes.
I'll just make faces.
Please.
Make faces. Tisk.
So let's start.
Sure. Go
How
ahead.
about we
Yeah.
start with
Yeah.
a brief, short synopsis that puts Jonathan in the spotlight.
I'm going to go farther to the sidelines.
You knew it was
No,
going to
no,
happen. But just so that everybody's on the same page with respect to degree of change,
Okay.
philosophy of change.
Yeah, well, I think most people at this point are aware that there's a very strong scientific consensus, plenty of evidence that the human emissions of greenhouse gases, especially CO2 from burning fossil fuels, are increasing the heat trapping capacity of the Earth's atmosphere. That's causing temperatures to go up by significant amounts. We're already have gone about 1 degree Celsius in the last century, which may not sound like much, but that's a bigger sustained change than we've seen in at least the last 10 or 20,000 years. And we're looking at projections, if we don't rein in emissions, of something like 4 degrees Celsius by the end of this century, which would take us back to temperatures we haven't seen in something like 5 million years. So we're talking about a really completely different climate, and one that would vastly shift the ecosystem zones where particular plants and animals would be able to thrive, impacts for fisheries, food security, and of course rising sea levels as ice sheets melt, so lots of serious impacts. And this is happening faster than any recorded change we can find in the fossil record, going back about 1 million years at least.
And one thing to think about with the changes that we're seeing, a lot of times we focus on thermal effects and the fact that the temperature of the water is changing, and from like a physiological perspective, you think, well, that's going to in fact affect rates of metabolic processes, growth rates, reproduction, production in plants and algae. But there's also looking at